opportunity again, and X3, and an absolutely exquisite finish with 2.5 minutes to go. And we talked her up, Darren Hemp, and we've said what a good player she's going to be, and what a fine goal it was to wrap up the FA Cup final.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of MCW Fancast. This week we're joined by Dave and Jayne from the OSC. It's good to finally catch up. It feels like it's been an absolute age. How are you both? I hope you're keeping well.
Yeah, keeping well. Like you say, it feels like an absolute lifetime since we saw everybody and since we kind of met up with everybody. So this will be quite nice to have a chat.
It's nice to chat to you, Emma, and to chat to everybody else, obviously, because, you know, football's such a big part of all our lives and we're all missing it, obviously, but, you know, this is such an important time for us all to get through.
Absolutely.
So, but it's nice to chat.
Yeah, definitely. This week we're mostly going to be answering your questions, so thank you to those of you that have contributed, even though there's been a little to talk about in regards to the football. But firstly and foremost, I wanted to just ask you both, how are you coping without the football?
The house has never been tidier, to be honest. All those little jobs that we can't do at the weekend because we've got football on, I've managed to sort out a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's fair comment. I mean, obviously, football is a lot of obvious people that listen to this. It's going to be your hobby, it's your life, it's what you do, and it's been taken away, under the severe circumstances. But everyone's lives changed drastically in the last few weeks because of it, and it's difficult. So, I can appreciate that people are missing it, but you've got to look at the bigger picture, I suppose, haven't we?
Yeah.
And the health situation comes first, and it's what we've got to do. But it's not ideal for any of us.
No. Jude wanted to actually know what's been the most boring and menial task that you've done since being in lockdown.
I cleaned the oven.
Yeah.
I cleaned the oven. That was a day's work. Well, I made it into a day's work, to be honest.
I bet it's sparkling.
Sparkling. We're not allowed to use it now. No more cooking now for Dave.
Yeah. I clean the shower and the grouting and all that, so I'm sure that's riveting for all you listeners.
Grouting.
To hear that one, Emma.
Grouting's a rubbish job.
It's like Jayne says, you just find time to fill your days and with little odd jobs around the house and stuff, because obviously we're staying in and what have you, so it's what it is, isn't it? But it is nice to see that this is where the online community, people such as yourselves and ourselves at the OSC on Twitter and Facebook, come into their own, because it may help people to feel more connected to the world at the moment.
The most boring thing I did actually was last weekend. Last year I bought a leaf blower and I thought I'm gonna put this leaf blower together and I'm gonna leaf blow the garden and then jet wash it and do all that kind of stuff. So I spent about no word of a lie, about 4 hours trying to put together this leaf blower to finally come to the conclusion that there was a fault with it. So now it's stuck in the car, shoved in the car, so I can take it back and hope they take it back. But yeah, that was the most menial thing that I did. It was, and Faye was just laughing at me while I did it, basically.
If you took 4 hours, Emma, it'd be quicker to just pick up the leaves.
It would, yeah, it would. You're right. I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to give it another go at the weekend, but I'm going to go old school and just do it by hand.
Get one of those litter pickers and go around and pick them all up. Do it that bit.
Yeah, no, it is like you say. You just find yourself ending up just doing the most ridiculous things. But
That's it, isn't it?
I've got a bit of a strategy for this bank holiday weekend. I've sort of planned it day by day. But whatever happens, I'm at least gonna try and definitely pick up the leaves in the garden. So there's been some great content put across social media. We've had a lot of players getting involved and posting. And Janet would like to know what's been our favourite women's football live broadcast, including Esme's and Lauren's shows that they've been doing. And Alex Scott has been doing a lot of broadcasts, Instagram lives with players, chatting to players. So what of those things have you enjoyed most?
Well, I think, like you say, we can't start anywhere other than Esme and Lauren's impromptu musical numbers, can we? I think that's been special. It's brought a smile to everyone's face when we've needed it the most.
Yeah.
Sing along, they've been absolutely brilliant to watch. You know, so I'd say that those are a highlight of everyone. And then obviously we've seen some of the other players, as you say, putting stuff out on social media, which is, I think it's important. I think it helps people feel connected and stuff. Things like Jill's been doing a skill.
Yeah, the skill sets, yeah.
Skill sets in the back garden and then setting challenges for everyone and things like that. And I know Jayne was watching one yesterday afternoon, weren't you? From was it Aoife?
Oh yeah, that was Aoife and Kira on Instagram Live together, just doing a little roommate chat together.
Yeah.
So I think it's nice. It's quite nice for people to see the players doing that. I think Aoife Mannion as well on her Instagram has been doing loads of little videos of her doing all her exercises and kind of just the little things about talking about how she feels when she's not motivated and what she makes herself do, and it makes you think kind of it's not just you who feels like that some days, it's everybody else. So I think it's quite nice and quite important for them to see that as well.
Yeah, Eva's been really good at documenting her recovery though, hasn't she? Like even before the lockdown, you know, she's been really good at keeping fans up to date with how she's progressing and how she's getting on.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's probably quite important for her as well, because it makes her feel still a part of the football community and still a part of everything that's going on. But then the flip side is it's, you know, good for other people to see kind of the struggles that she has, and it makes you feel that like you're not on your own and kind of people are having the same issues and the same kind of things going on.
Yeah, and I've got to mention, like you said, Lauren and Esme's performances. I mean, the Bohemian Rhapsody was pretty special.
She promised us a big finish on that one.
You weren't joking.
They definitely delivered.
Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, and we've also been able to enjoy as well replays through the FA Player, some of the old games as well, bringing them out of the archives. How have you enjoyed them?
I absolutely loved them actually. I sat through the Arsenal game, was it from 2015 when Tony Duggan scored that purling goal the other week? That was on I think that was on the WSL Facebook page, and then there was the FA Cup one. We watched the Birmingham final from 2017, and then we watched the one that you put up as well a couple of weeks ago, Emma, when we watched the
West Ham
last season final against West Ham together, didn't we? So
that was a bit of a disaster though.
I still enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was good, to be fair. I think it was just fun to have. It was just good to have a bit of fun with it, just to relive the day. And a lot of people got involved with it, didn't they, on Twitter, and contributed some photos and their videos from the day, which was good. Yeah.
That's been I mean, as you know, I'm pretty much, you know, I run a lot of the OSC Twitter site, and that's one positive to come out of this has been people's interactions on there. It's been amazing. You know, we've had threads for people's City Women memorabilia, and people have been sending in pictures of all that, and then people have been sending in pictures of the days at the cup final, as you say, when we were talking about that. People have been sending in pictures of the City books they've got, and the signings, and the selfies with players. It's been really good. That's one positive we can take from that, is that, you know, I know like the reliance on online communities this year, in this day and age, sometimes gets a bad rep, but in this day and you know, the situation we find ourselves in at the moment, I think you can take a positive from it, in that it is helping people get through, and they're helping people to feel just that little bit less lonely, hopefully, you know, and things like that. Gives them a bit of a pick-me-up. So that's one positive we can take from it, I feel. And people like yourselves as well. I mean, you know, with these podcasts and you know, yourself online, you know, it all helps.
Yeah, I mean, it can be really difficult at times, like you're saying. You know, you try and think about content. You know, you want to put things out there for people to engage with, to interact with, and you know, some days it might seem like there's nothing to talk about, but you know, like you said, to go online and to engage with fans, and you know, to find that mutual ground, and for the love of the game sometimes is, you know, I know sometimes I appreciate it and it gets me through, so I'm sure a lot of people feel the same.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. Yeah, it's like you say, football's such a big part of our lives. So you know, we've done these threads that we've said, and we've said, you know, we've done some quizzes. We decided to do a quiz every Friday night where people can just answer it. You know, it's nothing. We're not doing it for a big prize or anything. It's just for people to have a chat together and just talk about memories. We've all got a lot of shared memories over the last few years. So we've got quite a lot to talk about there, you know, and things like that. And it's time to bring those sort of things to the front now. until the time comes when we can all get together and start, creating more memories together and things like that.
Yeah. That was from Janet, by the way. I don't know if I said it was from Janet, but it was Janet that sent the question.
Janet was very, very vocal on the 2017 Cup final. I think it's her favourite day ever. So
yeah,
I know Janet was tweeting about that at the time. So I'm not surprised that she enjoyed that.
Yeah, I mean, we always talk about that day, though. A lot of fans hold a lot of sentiment to that day because it was so special for a lot of people, and a lot of fans were saying it was their first game. It was a major trophy for the club, and it is an important fixture, and to relive those games and have that opportunity for those fans that maybe wasn't following that club at the time as well. It's also really important, and we've reflected on games. I think they've shown the Liverpool-Bristol game the other day, and I know we don't really follow the clubs, but for the history and the importance of and the significance of that game for the history of the WSL League, it was really important as well.
Yeah, things like that. So that was, like you say, a massively significant game, but for people who weren't watching the game at the time probably won't know anything about that. So to be able to sit back and kind of take part in that little bit of history that went on and think, oh, okay, so this went on here and that went on there, and that's what that team was doing at that time. You don't often get to sit back and think about that. Yeah.
No, it has been really good, and like I said, at least we can take positives away from it. It is great to see the FA and City in particular doing really positive things. I mean, I know the City interaction that they've been doing home packs. They're still having that engagement. They're still trying to put out content. They are being really active. They're doing, a lot of positive things that we've seen from the club as well over the last 3 weeks in particular. I mean, it does make you feel really proud to be a part of the club as well.
Yeah, I think City have done really well. I think as a club, they've, as you say, their online content has stayed very high. The players are very visible on there as well. I believe they've been phoning around some of them elderly season ticket holders and citizens members and checking just to see they're okay. I've seen a few people commenting on that online. The City had phoned them just to check up on them and things like that, which is nice to hear. Because it's such a big part of everybody's life. The club, the men's team, the women's team, we all support either all the aspects or some of the aspects of the club, and we're all missing it. So it's nice to see the club still engaging with everybody on those levels.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk a bit about the football then. City, we've seen them do a lot of business over the last few months. Players have been offered new contracts extending beyond at the end of the season. Jess Park, the most recent of those, and the club announced this week that she's signed her first professional contract. How happy are you with the likes of Horton, Walsh, Weir all committing to the club for the future? And is there any business that you'd like to be seeing done by the club before the summer?
Yeah, I'm very pleased with the ones you mentioned there. I mean, obviously they're all fantastic players in their own right, established players, and then you've got a young player like Jess signing for their first professional contract and stuff, and keeping her at the club, which I think anyone who's seen Jess knows the potential that's there as a footballer is immense. So more than happy with that. Obviously, at City we're going to look at things at the end of the season anyway, weren't they, with the situation that happened with Nick. We're not sure what was going to happen with the manager. Would Alan stay in charge? He was only ever referred to as interim manager. We're not sure what the longer term plan was there by the club. Have they got someone else lined up? Are they going to offer it to Alan on a more permanent basis if he did well? So I think before all this situation we're in now happened, I think we were going to wait and see till the end of the season. But that's now all even more up in the air with the situation we're in, isn't it? We don't know if they're going to resume the season, if they're going to complete this season, cancel some of next season. And this is right across the game. This isn't just City, this is everybody is in this thing. So I think some of the decisions that we're looking at might not be made until it's time to sit down with these players when everything's back on at least a relatively even keel and make some decisions. And obviously a lot of it depends is, are they going to complete the season or not? I know you had Dan from Full Time Magazine on your last podcast talking about this. And we don't want any immediate reaction, but obviously people's health and the situation we're in comes before football, and football will be decided afterwards when the bigger issues are sorted. So I think we need to wait and see, really, to be honest with you.
Are there any players that you'd like to see extend at the club?
I think for me, somebody like Jayne, who's coming to the end of her contract, is somebody who I'm sure you'd agree we'd like to see extend her time at the club. We've already had the news for people like Pauline that their contract's not going to be extended, which is a shame. But I think if we could add Jayne and Becky to that list of players who've signed an extension, that'd be really good news.
Yeah, I agree. I think we mentioned on Twitter yesterday or the day before that her assist rate in the WSL League was 8, and that's on par with Miedema. I mean, for what she's contributed to this season to the team and how she's been played out of position and how she's played that position and made it her own, she's done really well. And she's up there as one of the contenders for Player of the Season.
Oh, definitely. I mean, we're hoping at some point to still run our OSC Player of the Season campaign, and certainly, as you know, everyone gets a vote and can vote for whoever they want. Certainly, I would say that Jayne is in the running for that. On this season performances alone, when you take into account the position she played in wasn't a natural at the start of the season and things like that, she's been one of the outstanding players of the season. There's no two ways about that. So, we'd love to see her extended. And let's not forget what a big signing we had earlier this year when Kira, signed a new contract as well.
Yeah.
Because she's been outstanding this season as well, Kira. So that's another great signing for the club. So, I'm glad that one's sorted. But yeah, certainly Jayne would be the priority, I would say personally. To look to extend.
Because it has added so much depth to her own game, really, hasn't it? Like, she's sort of adapted so well, and it offers that versatility in Jayne as a player.
Yeah, I think so, and I think she probably surprised herself as well with how well she's played there, because I think if you were to ask her before this season or before she played at the right back position, she would have never imagined herself in that part of the pitch. So I think she's done so well, and it's proved how versatile she is and how much of a good footballer she is. And
obviously we have to talk about the league, with there being so much uncertainty at the moment with the completion of both the Women's Super League and the Championship tiers. The suspension of the leagues remains under review, and it's unclear as to how or when the season may be concluded, although some managers have come out and spoken that it must be played to preserve the integrity of the game. There's been so much discussion already about how people would like to see the remaining games played out, but what are your thoughts on this, and how do you feel, and what do you feel is the most viable option moving forward for the FA?
My thought is that this season should be completed. Whether that happens in August, whether it means you have to wait till September, I think that this season should be completed, and then we can worry about what the structure of next season looks like after that. At this moment in time, it's not safe for the players to go out and play. It's not safe for fans to be in stadiums. So once it's decided that the time is right for the season to restart, I think that this season should be continued, even if it means that it takes up till Christmas, and then we look at whatever the structure is for next season after that.
I pretty much agree with that. I think I'm not a fan of playing. I'm talking football generally, and men's and women's. I wouldn't be a fan of playing behind closed doors because, without the fans, I just don't think that football is. I was a little bit disappointed to see the lower leagues be expunged so soon the other week. I'd like to have maybe bought themselves a little bit more time, but I understand there's money issues with clubs, and it's difficult. I understand that because it's unprecedented, the situation we found in. So I don't like being too critical of anyone, because this is uncharted territory for every club. But I'd like to see it completed, definitely. And as Jayne says, if that means eating into next season's time, at least next season hasn't started, so we could then curtail next season. Certainly in the women's game, but maybe look at even having another spring series type competition next season where we all play each other once, and then that would put us in line again, hopefully the following summer, to be back in line with the calendar. But obviously it's all got to be led by the situation of the actual the government, and when it's safe for people to resume these things, and that must come first, obviously. Yeah,
absolutely. Like, first and foremost, obviously the well-being of players, staff and fans comes first, and football comes after. I've said this before, we've just got to be patient and just see how this situation evolves and what happens in terms of how we conclude the season. I don't think is at the forefront of many people's minds at the moment. We just want to sort of come out of this situation that we're in and then see what happens.
Yeah, obviously it's a question of priorities. We all love our football, but it won't be the highest agenda. There's other things that need to be sorted as before we could even look at that, obviously. And as I say, it's unprecedented. I don't think the government always say they're being led by the science, and I think that's all we can do is let the situation be handled, and then we can look at it when the time's right, which I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
I'm sure they will do that.
Absolutely.
Just hope they come up with the right decisions.
I hope so. And like you said, it was a shame, like you said, that those lower leagues, it almost seems as though the decision was made too quickly. For me, in my opinion, it was made too quickly. But it was just the reports of the lack of consultation between the clubs as well that didn't sit too comfortable with me. That there wasn't an opportunity there for clubs to express their thoughts on the situation.
No, I think it took the clubs by surprise a lot. I don't think they were consulted with, which is, I think, what upset a lot of them. It seemed a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction. Like Dave said, you don't want to criticise people too heavily because it's a situation people haven't ever been in before.
Yeah.
But it feels a little bit like that was a knee-jerk reaction that didn't take the team's views and issues into consideration as much as it probably should have.
We're going to just talk about, because you've still been busy. Obviously, you've been doing lots of stuff on social media, but you've also been on another podcast. Do you want to talk about that? I listened to it yesterday and I really thoroughly enjoyed it, but do you want to talk about it? Because it really was a great listen, and I think we can direct some fans towards it as well, because it was great.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Emma. We were invited by Patty, I think it's Patty LaBella, who runs the WF podcast, which is the Women's World Football Show podcast from America. She's based in California, and she got in touch with us on social media. And, she said she was having Janine Decky on for an exclusive interview, and obviously, so she was focusing on the episode around City. And so she wanted to know if we were to come on and talk about the OSC, talk about City, talk about City fans in general and things like that. And it was a lovely experience. She was really nice to chat to, and she went through a series of questions with us, which we answered. All you can hear that all on the podcast. It was really enjoyable. Lovely experience. Yeah. And obviously, it was interesting to compare. Some of the things she was talking about the situation in America with with the football fans over there as well. So
yeah, comparisons. It was good. I did really fully enjoy it. I did think it was a little bit harsh though at the end, how she wanted to sing with you and you didn't sing with her. I thought that was really harsh.
Don't try and get us to sing on here now instead. It's not going to work, Emma.
No, I thought it was cruel. And
I'll say the same to you as I said to her. You don't want us singing. You want your listeners to come back. If I start singing, you'll lose listeners. That's what I said to Patty. So we'll keep it in line.
But it definitely is a really good listen, and it's available on most podcast platforms. So wherever you listen to us, you can probably listen to that as well. So definitely check it out.
Put a few links up and stuff. But it's they're on Twitter. And the link to it is WWF show, I believe. Yeah. And Patty has said that she would love to come over to England when the time's right and come to a City game and sit with us and have a sing-song then. So she's more than welcome. She knows that, and I'm sure when she does, you can have a chat with you yourself as well. Yeah,
I mean, I've been listening to her podcast. I mean, it's been going for years. I remember it was one of the first women's football podcasts I remember listening to, and she's really established herself as definitely one of the best. So yeah, it's a great listen. If you've not checked it out already, I definitely recommend it. But most certainly, the episode speaking to you guys was really good, and obviously the interview with Janine as well. It was really good to hear her. I think she was out in France. She was with the international team, wasn't she? So
that's right.
Yeah. So that was an interesting interview. Just before everything, obviously, changed in terms of our situation. But you've also been really busy as well. You started preparing the yearbook for next year.
Well, yeah, Andy, our author, people know Andy Walden has done the last two yearbooks for us, and we're working on this year's. Obviously, we'd already started working on it before the situation we find ourselves in now. So we decided to use this time, and Andy's been working hard, collecting stuff, writing articles for it. There'll be fan inclusion again. Some articles from supporters have wrote for Andy, and they'll all be included. But obviously, we're not going to print the book yet. We're going to wait and see what happens So the book will be held just so we see what's happening, and then we'll release it when the time's right and when we can, get it out to people and we can start going at games again and selling it. So, but it's kept me busy anyway as well. Just sorting stuff out for it and liaising with Andy, who's been working hard. So yeah, we hope it's as good as the last two. The last two have been completely sold out last 2 years. So we hope to do the same again.
Brilliant. No, look forward to it. It's I've obviously got both copies and it's always a good read, so looking forward to getting my hands on that.
I believe you're going to do a small article for us yourself, Emma.
Yes, I will try and contribute something. I don't know what yet, but yeah, I will do, of course. I'll get my thinking cap on. Might give me something to do this weekend.
Well, you're the voice of the fans and stuff, so it'd be nice to have you in there. And, we like to include as many supporters as we can as well, because it is, a yearbook about supporters as much as about the team. So, it will be nice.
No, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate you asking, and I will look forward to contributing. I think that's about it, really, for this week. But hopefully, we can catch up again in a couple of weeks. What have you got planned for the weekend? Anything special?
Okay, the weekend. I didn't really know it was the weekend.
I know all the days have started merging into one.
They have. I've got a pair of scissors and a ruler. I'm going to go and cut my lawn outside in the garden this week.
I thought you were going to say you were going to go and cut your hair.
Oh, God, no.
I should cut my hair. Well, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everyone that's interacted with us on social media. It's been fantastic. I think together, we are helping people just to stay in touch and chat. I'd like to thank Peter Simpson, who's been putting a lot of quizzes up for members on Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah, it's been good, that.
I'd like to thank people for the interaction and everything, because it's been great, and it does help. It helps me, it helps others. We're all in the same boat in terms of we're all missing the football, missing each other. So things like this, I'd like to thank yourself, Emma, as well. The podcast, keeping the podcast going. I'm sure that helps people as well. So, I'm sure people appreciate it. So
we like to try and do our bit, and we just do what we all do what we can in this time and help each other and be there for each other when
that's it. Yeah.
When we need to be. So you will continue to do that. If people want to hear from us, then that's what we'll do.
Surely do.
All right. Thanks, Dave. Thank you, Jayne. Both of you.
It's been lovely to speak to you.
You
Take care.
too. Stay safe, both of you, and I'll see you soon.
And you, Emma, and all your listeners, stay safe, and speak to you soon.
All right. Speak to you soon. Bye.